Sunday. Got to thinking this morning. As my son is in the high school music program, I've seen some of the instruments that those guys have to play, and it's not pretty. So I got to thinking, there's a lot of music programs out there that have need for instrumentation for kids. And not all of those kids have the ability to procure instruments. What if we took a really, really cheap instrument? I'm talking really cheap, not like a Squier or an Epiphone even. Like I'm talking like really, really cheap stuff from the internet. And we took that guitar and we threw everything we had at it. Put new parts on it, give it a fret, level, and dress. I think that we could probably come up with something halfway decent. So let's buy a really, really cheap guitar and give it away. I've heard good things about Harley Benton. Solid guitars, pretty cheap. So I looked into them and found that Thomann Music, which I guess is a German-based company, and is the largest online music retailer in the world. Music House Thomann, as they're called there. Sure enough, the Harley Benton line that they have is really, really cheap. I knew I was looking for a Les Paul style guitar because that's going to work well with pretty much any type of music that a student program is going to be tackling, from jazz to classical to rock. That style of guitar sounds good clean. It sounds good dirty. It's a workhorse, so it's going to work really well for those kids. Most importantly, it's going to be a good foundation for the kinds of modifications we'll be making on it. They're easy to work on, and I think that's where we're going to add the most value. So here we are. We found some LP-style guitars, and they are indeed super cheap. The one thing I'm going to insist on, though, is a mahogany body, at the very least. A lot of the stuff is basswood or akume bodies. For a couple bucks more, we can be into a mahogany body. Here's one. Looks nice. A gold top with binding on the front. Looks a lot like an LP standard. I'm digging that neck heel. Looks comfy. Some of this stuff looks completely great, but you can bet that bridge hardware is pot metal. That nut is plastic, and those pots are going to be bottom of the barrel, like most of the parts on the guitar have to be to make a price point at $159. But it's got a mahogany body. The neck is okume, and the fingerboard is laurel. We'll talk more about the woods later, but I think this is a fine foundation for what I want to do. Alnico 5, I bet we can improve on those. But what the hell, let's go for it. 2 to 5 days shipped. And the shipping is $89 from, I'm going to guess, China. Is there no slow boat option? I guess not. So let's go for it. After our Les Paul comparison, and there's actually been a couple of other videos in which I was wearing this hat. Yeah, I'm not so sure about the packing job. Let's see. Let's hope it's a box within a box.
Now, where'd this ship from?
This came from Nuremberg, Germany, which is where Thomann HQ is. So there's a little bit of packing in here. Yeah, it's a box within a box. Oh, not bad. The packing leaves a bit to be desired, but just on first glance, this is a pretty good looking guitar. I mean, it's a Les Paul-alike guitar, and even the headstock looks a lot like a Gibson. Okay, well, let's take a look back at this thing too. Look at that. How many pieces is this guitar? I see 1, 2, that's at least 3.
I see where they deviated from the Paulness.
I saw that when I was shopping for it, and I kind of like that neck joint. That's a very, if you ask me, graceful.
It is. It's nice
joint. Nice, big, long, continuous curve, and we'll see how that set neck performs stability-wise. No branding on the tuners whatsoever. They look like they're lined up relatively well, sort of. The tuning pegs themselves are very much plastic. They tried to make it look like the ivory look of the vintage Gibson, but I think that's what they're going for here, is the look of a vintage Gibson. But this is definitely not a vintage Gibson.
It is shiny, man. It's very shiny.
I noticed the first thing, the switch, it's got a big giant seam of plastic there, so it's got a little bit of roughness to it. Neck joint seems pretty solid. There's a little bit of a whoopsie on the finish here on the bottom bout. If you can squeeze in there, you can see that there's a little bleached out wood mark right there.
Yep.
Now I'm noticing on these controls, they're saying that they're coil tapping equipped, which looks like they probably are. We will maintain that functionality. The tailpiece and bridge look halfway decent. There's a tap. That is definitely cheap metal. We'll have to see how that turns out. These I'm probably going to wind up replacing, along with the pickups. Yeah, so see this saddle right here? That screw is not supposed to be sticking out like that. That screw is supposed to be up against the metal. That's just the construction of a really cheap bridge and set of saddles. Interesting little notice on this one. There's a QC stamp there, giving us a born-on date of, looks like June 5th, 2023, and inspected for QC by Harvey. Thanks, Harvey. Laurel fretboard. It's doing a really good job of trying to look like mahogany, but it's got a drier look to it than mahogany would. Mahogany, it doesn't look wet or anything like that. It's just a bit of a softer look. This is kind of like halfway in between ebony and rosewood. In terms of the fret ends, they did a good job of bringing them in, so I don't feel anything like on the outside the binding sticks out further enough to make it actually feel pretty playable. But I can feel the fret ends when I run my finger over it. Those fret ends are just done by machine. Somebody routed out the bottom of this. It looks like almost by hand, and they thinned out the top, which is maple, by the way. So we've got regular depth here on the top, and then they thinned it out, I guess, to accommodate these pots, which you can see those are the cheapest of cheap pots. Those run like pennies a piece. The fact that they included coil tapping on this blows my mind, because number one, that's not listed on the ad. No indication of that whatsoever on the site. I would have made note of that when I looked at it. Standard Les Paul wiring. We're going to convert this to 50s style wiring regardless. So it looks like everything works on the controls. It should. Works. Yep. Cool. Coil tapping works. And as I'm tuning the tuning keys, I can feel the key working itself back and forth. It feels like it's actually bending on the shaft. It's really, really thin metal in the shaft.
Yikes.
I mean, all in all, not bad. Like the packing leaves a lot to be desired. I think it was a real risk to send a guitar across the world like that, but it arrived intact and it does not have a broken headstock. I call that a win. Let's see what it sounds like. Okay, so intonation-wise, it needs some help. So first impressions, okay, after having played this thing for a good 60 seconds now, I can tell you that I hate with a burning passion this treble pickup. The neck pickup has a clarity to it that I kind of like. Well, I think I found where the bridge pickup shines, and that's when you put some dirt on it. That's not bad at all.
That middle position sounds really nice.
It does.
I really do like it.
It's got a really nice sweet tone.
And I like the neck pickup a lot. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I agree with you. I'm not entirely sure I like the bridge pickup. It's a little meh. Yep. That's got some balls. Not
And
balls.
Alex
It's got
Watson just got paid.
Yes, he did. That's why I messed it up so the copyright lawyers won't get us. This is light years better than my first guitar, which was an Encore Les Paul knockoff. I'm pretty sure made out of 2-inch plywood. And that was $100 in 1980 money. And it was pretty awful. You know, and the action is really quite nice. I suppose it could be a little bit lower, but I've seen much worse. I've played much worse. It sustains.
Yeah, sure does. How does the weight compare to your Epiphone?
I think that the weight of this compared to the EBE is pretty close. I think this is a little lighter. I keep looking at you and then the camera, and this is like rookie stuff. Pick one and do it.
That's why I'm standing over here. I could
It's
stand over here and make you look at the camera.
which I probably should do. Am I talking to you, the audience, or am I talking to my lovely partner, Mark? It could be either. Could be both. Could be some of them. Could be none of them.
I'm lovely.
Well, we all are, aren't we?
I'm Mark.
I like it, and I think you've got your work cut out for you on
Well,
this.
that's the problem is we're gonna do all this stuff to this guitar, and it's already a really good guitar.
Yeah.
I think the one place we're gonna make a huge difference, aside from the tuners, nut, pickups, and the electronics, is the fretwork. Because the fretwork, while it's okay, if you bend notes or anything like that, you're gonna feel those frets are just rough. It's a good guitar. It's right out of the gate. It's a good guitar.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised at the level of quality they were able to get for that price point. Here's the one thing that really gets to me is having sat down with this guitar, just having tuned it up. I wrote music on this guitar, so now I've got this personal
You've
connection.
named it.
I have not named the guitar. I don't name guitars. I don't anthropomorphize.
If you hadn't said it wrong, I could say it right. I hate you.
It'll be easy to get this guitar up because I know it's going to be going to a good cause and to a student who's going to carry the cause of guitar music beyond where I'm able to take it.
Yeah, I love it. It's nice. Let's make it better. Well, you make it better.
No,
I'll just point cameras at things. There we go.
All right, so here we are, up in the studio. Got the Harley Benton up here. We've done nothing to it yet. And I have plugged this into my usual studio recording rig, which involves basically a cable, a tuner, and an amp. The tuner in question is just a Peterson Strobostomp tuner. The amp in question is my trusty Marshall SV20H. It's set up to be pretty dirty right now, and I'll be controlling all the tone from these controls. That amp is going into a matching 212. However, I'm not using the cabinet at all today. I'm instead using the aux box to simulate a cabinet and to record my tones into Cubase, which is being fed by a Universal Audio Apollo 8 interface. So I've got a little tune that I've put together that is going to exercise both pickups, and we're going to use different volume settings. Not really going to be messing with the tone controls too much because I really just want you to hear the clarity of the pickups, or how not clear they are, as it were. But this is what this guitar sounds like, completely stock, untouched. All I've done is tune the guitar. Here it is. One take. So it's a decent guitar, and for $159 you get a lot of value for your money. But I think we can make it a lot better.